I'm supposed to go on my honeymoon trip, and my mother-in-law wants to tag along too. I told my husband that is a very weird thing to do. I don't want to be a part of that, and he begged me. He pleaded me, so I gave in. But here's where it gets super weird. You would think, okay, she's gonna tag along. She's not going to interrupt us much. She might meet us for dinner, hang by the pool, But guys, my husband got one bedroom for all three of us. Hello everyone, I'm a 24-year-old living with my fiance who's 1 year older than me. He's actually my high school sweetheart with whom I've been going out with for 8 long years. I'm a marketing intern and my husband works in IT, so we're finally at a point in our life where we consider ourselves ready for a big commitment. It's going to be a long, awaited wedding and I want everything to be perfect. However, there's a huge problem that's practically making me reconsider the entirety of my marriage. My soon-to-be mother-in-law's asking to join us on our honeymoon trip. And the worst thing is that my to-be husband seems to be open to the idea. My fiancé seems to be too stressed to argue with her anymore, and so he's agreed that he's going to purchase a ticket for her. The problem is that we don't have that much money, guys. And a trip abroad is very, very costly. I mean, come on. He even tried to convince me to change the honeymoon location, but this is something that I've wanted for a very long time. I don't think that I can compromise anymore. We've had a huge fight, and my husband finally said that he would take care of it. The tipping point is when I found out my fiancé has booked a 1 room for 3 of us, apparently to save on cost. His logic is that if he booked 2 rooms, he would not have enough money to afford flight tickets, food, and shopping for his mommy. So now he's blaming it on me for ruining our honeymoon because we will have to spend the night with his mom apparently. He thinks his mom is behaving inappropriately, but he does not realize he's enabling her behaviors. And I think this is extremely unhealthy and might cause bigger problems in the long run. To be honest, I've been having problems with my mother-in-law for a while now. She has severe anxiety. She was diagnosed with a mental disorder that I should not even probably reveal here, so I won't. She takes medicine every day to make sure that she can even function normally. I used to like her a lot, but after a while, I feel like she's just taking advantage of her illness to keep her son and me in control. When she found out that we were planning a trip abroad, she insisted that she has to go with us, or else her anxiety would start to act up, and she said that she needed to know exactly where we would be just so she feels safe. While I have a lot of sympathy for her, guys, I do. I don't think I can make such a big compromise. I worked hard and saved up for the trip. Plus, this is not the first time that we've been having problems like this. She's generally very invasive of our private life. For example, she's barged into our bedroom once to make sure that we were using protection. We were living with her at the time, trying to save on rent, being fresh graduates and all. Still, it was a challenge sharing anything with her. It was insufferable, so we moved out. She made a huge fuss about it too. She would call my husband and cry about how lonely she was, how unsafe she felt, and how this had never happened to her before. It took her just a few weeks to calm down and accept the fact that her son had his own life now. She even hosts gatherings and cooks us very nice dinners on the weekend just to make up for her behavior. But the harmonious atmosphere never lasted for too long. There's always something. It's like a pattern that's becoming predictable. She's really upset about something, then she apologizes, then she finds something else to be really upset about. She's very unstable and moody like that. To be honest, I had a lot more sympathy for her when I first met her. My fiancé's father passed away when he was 14. She has had it pretty tough ever since, and she was struggling with the smallest of tasks, from getting up in the morning to making the most simple meals, and she got fired from her job even, and has never been able to get back on a track career-wise. She's a part-time restaurant worker now, and I don't think she's very happy with where she is in life. Still, my fiancé was doing really well at school, and he got a scholarship to go to college for free. He worked extra hours to pay for his own accommodation and his own food, and he paid off his student loans just a year after graduation, and I can understand why she grew so attached to him. He's reliable in ways that her dead husband wasn't, and she really had no one else. We tried to get her all kinds of support groups, but she never lasted too long because there was always a problem. And she's always upset about something. Honestly, I'm not sure where else I could do at this point. Anyways, back to the honeymoon drama. I confronted my mother-in-law and she gets really angry. In the middle of her tantrum, she admitted to trying to postpone our wedding because she's not ready to let her son go. I told her this is really unhealthy and said that she should be in therapy, but she refused. She blamed it on me for taking her son away from her. I said that if she doesn't want to work on herself, I'll make him go no contact with her. She said I could try, so I did. I gave my fiancé an ultimatum. I know that I would never be okay with having such an invasive mother-in-law, so I tell him that he has to resolve the issue now, and I mean now, or I'd never go ahead with the wedding, and I mean it. So, he canceled his mom's flight ticket, got a partial refund even, and decided to go no contact with her for the duration of the honeymoon trip. My mother-in-law accused me of being an ungrateful brat. My fiancé chose me and kept his word. He did not text or call his mom the whole week, and he still set her up with an emergency hotline where she can contact her mental institution. So it's not like we're abandoning her. We actually kept in touch with her doctor to make sure that she's A-okay. But strangely, things were fine with her the whole week. We were able to enjoy the honeymoon with each other, and I could tell that from time to time he was slightly anxious, but other than that, we did not seem to have any sort of problems. Not that I noticed anyways. Generally, it was a much-needed vacation, and I was once again reminded of how much easier life would be without having to deal with my mother-in-law all the time. I thought that things were starting to look up for us, but I was wrong. When we got back to our house, the furniture looked different, things were reordered, and our entire house was full of pictures from my husband's childhood with his parents. There was no one in the house, so at first we were just confused. We called my mother-in-law, and that's when we found out that she's moved in without our consent. She said that she was doing housekeeping for free for us, and I was fuming, but my husband was nonchalant. He didn't even seem surprised that his mom lives with us now, and we waited for about half an hour, and my mother-in-law comes back home from grocery shopping. She took vegetables out and started cooking like it's just another regular day. Well, what drove me crazy is the fact that my husband did not even say a word. He just went with her, and I feel like I wasn't his wife. I was just the third wheel in this strange, inappropriate relationship that he has with his mom. I left that night, and my husband has not tried to get in touch with me. It's been 4 days, and I'm not really sure what to do. But I know that I need to do something. I mean, this can't go on much longer. Should I get a divorce? I don't really know what to do. I feel like I'm being unfair to him and his mom, but I know I cannot be happy living under the same roof with her. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. We're going to check out a couple comments before we hop into the first update. And this first comment, it comes from Farshk123. I know the mother-in-law has issues with her mental health, but in this situation, I don't blame OP for setting boundaries and asking for some distance from her. I mean, you can start a family, not that way. But I'm even more concerned about OP's husband because he seems to be in denial all the damn time. It's like he doesn't want to admit that his mom is a problem, and does nothing to deal with it, and I think the husband's actually a bigger problem than mother-in-law. Divorce is going to be hard, but it's actually the right thing to do in a lot of situations where conflicts simply cannot be resolved. Comment number 2. I don't know. I just feel like OP is not telling the whole truth. At least not the whole story. I'm sorry, but the way she talks about how life is easier without mother-in-law is rubbing me the complete wrong way. Maybe it's because I've also have a mental disorder and have to rely on medicine to function properly, but I don't like the way she's portraying her mother-in-law. To be some kind of crazy, out-of-control patient. She obviously just needs help. If support groups don't work, it's just not the right treatment for her. There are different options out there, and you can't move her from one support group to another without any progress. And then still expect her to be excited about getting treatment? Come on. Have some sympathy for the poor woman, please. Update number 1. Hey guys. Thank you everyone for having left me advice on exactly what to do next. So, it's been about 2 months since I last wrote anything on here, and a lot of stuff has been updated. Firstly, the biggest surprise yet. I found out that I was 6 weeks pregnant, and I want to keep the baby. Before giving any more details, I just want to address some of the things that you guys mentioned in the comment section. You said that I'm not telling the whole story, right? Because it seems like we're not trying every possible way to help my mother-in-law. Trust me, we did. She was in therapy, met with 4 different therapists. Nothing really worked out. Even though that was really costly, she said that she did better when she's surrounded by women her age. Hence the support groups, which obviously did not help. We sent her to a 3-week meditation retreat that cost my husband's a month worth of salary, and she just got sent home after 5 days. She would not tell me what happened, so I had to call the trainer there. They said that my mother-in-law very often throws tantrums. She cries and disturbs other patients in their most private spaces. One of the women reported being disturbed when she was in the shower. My mother-in-law said that she missed her son and needed someone to talk to. That's no good reason to barge into someone's bathroom when they're taking a shower, am I right? She seems to be on her best behavior when she's around her son, so I guess the problem starts with my hubby. He needs to step up and start setting these boundaries. Nobody can do that for him, you know. So, back to the pregnancy, right? I've always wanted to be a mother. So even if my husband's not on board, I would still take care of the baby with everything I have. So that really changed everything for me, and I was a little shocked at first, but as soon as I made peace with it, I became really excited. I feel like the baby gave me hope to keep going. Anyways, I felt the need to tell my husband the truth because he's still the father of my kid after all. When he found out that I was pregnant, he begged me to consider moving back in with him. He said he was waiting for this day for so long, and I knew he had always wanted a big family because we had multiple discussions on our future. But I told him that the issue with his mom still needs to be resolved. He said that his mom is really excited for our baby too, and now that there's a new member of the family, everything will change for the better. The baby would give us the motivation to do whatever we need to and keep the family together, and I know that might not be realistic, but it was very comforting to hear it. I want my child to have a great childhood, and it really felt like my husband has changed and is now willing to take initiative for the sake of his kid. My mother-in-law then contacted me herself and apologized for everything. She said that sometimes her anxiety gives her a lot of impulses and she would work on that. She also promised me that she would help look after the child and I can stay at home or go back to work, basically do whatever I want once the child is born. Obviously apologizing something she does a lot, and it doesn't mean much to me at this point, but she was right. I need somebody to help look after my baby if I want to get back to work soon. A nanny is an option, but it's going to be such a hassle to find a good, reliable nanny. Plus, I'm a bit stressed out about raising the baby alone, because I have no family here, and my parents live far away, and I'm not close to them anyways. I guess I was hoping my husband would help me deal with his mom's emotional outburst now that her baby's here. Should I move back in with them? I mean, come on, what do you guys even think I should do? Update number 2. Hello. I know it's only been a few weeks since my first updates, but I need some advice. I've made some bad decisions, and now I have to face the consequences of them and take full responsibility for what I did. So please be kind. I just need some advice on how to proceed from here. I don't know what's the best course of action anymore. So I decided to move back in with my husband. I know it was not the wisest decision. My mother-in-law has been very controlling, and she's not worked on the things that she promised me that she would work on. She still invades our privacy on a daily basis, and the worst thing is that my husband doesn't even seem to have a problem with it. Now that I'm pregnant, she even has more reasons to control every aspect of my life, in the name of protecting my baby. So, just last week, I was making a batch of cookies, and she snuck in secretly and threw them all away because she said that I should cut back on my sugar. Little things like that add up, and I'm just really stressed. Yesterday, I had really bad cramps, and my mother-in-law offered to stay in our room to make sure that I was okay. It would have been a nice little gesture, but the next morning I found out that she had taken the time to replace all of my underwear. She said that my old ones were not classy nor good for my body, so she's taken it upon herself to buy me new underwear. I told her I was uncomfortable and that she needs to keep her word and work on her boundaries, and she just started to cry. And then she started pinching herself, basically throwing a tantrum. I recorded the whole thing in a secret, just hoping to have proof of her mental instability. What should I do? Our finances are really tricky. My husband's usually in charge, so I'm not completely sure where he keeps our savings. But we should have around $80,000. My husband makes a lot more money than I do, so I'm worried that if I file for divorce, he can afford a better lawyer and take my child away from me. Anyways, I think I can see things more clearly now. I need a divorce. I have to do this alone. I have to. I can't rely on my husband or his mom. I just don't know how to go about this without damaging my baby or ruining their future. I do want my child to go to college someday, and I don't know if I can afford it alone. What if my husband remarries and my child has to grow up without a father figure? I know I have to get out. I just don't know how. Update number 3. Things have gotten much worse much faster than I ever expected. My husband found out about the tape I made of his mother and her tantrum, and it turns out that he has been going through my phone without my consent, but I would say luckily. He hasn't seen any of these postings, and I can't imagine how much worse he would have behaved if he did. Anyways, he was furious. He said he was going to sue me because I invaded his mother's privacy and that I would ruin his family image. I found it so weird because I never thought of him as somebody who cares that much about a public image. I talked back at him and we fought, and that was the biggest fight we've ever had. My husband hit me for the first time, and he even took my phone away to make sure that I could not record him. I'm broken but determined to get out, so here is where it gets a little bit more complicated. I bumped into the yoga instructor in a local coffee shop. She recognized me right away because I was there to pick up my mother-in-law. And we had multiple conversations on my mother-in-law's outburst, and I've always liked her as a person, so we sat down and talked for like 30 minutes or so. It came up in the conversation that my mother-in-law is still dependent on her medicine, and she seemed surprised. She said that she didn't know my mother-in-law was already on medicine during the whole treatment retreat. That sounded really strange to me, because she should have. Then I realized that I've never seen my mother-in-law actually take medicine. My husband's always the one who monitors her, so now I wonder if she takes them at all. I also opened up to the yoga instructor about my intention to divorce my husband, just because she's recently gotten out of an abusive relationship herself. Guys, she gave me her little inside scoop. It was her sister's contact. Let's call her Megan. Meg is a really good divorce lawyer, and she has won many cases where the wife is financially dependent on the husband. Sounds exactly like my situation. So I contacted Megan myself, and she gave me some very valuable finance advice. It turns out that I do have access to our savings. I just need to go to the bank and get all the information, and I don't need to ask for my husband's permission. We're married. And I feel a little embarrassed that I wasn't more financially literate. I honestly thought that I had no access, because my husband said so, and he's always been the one who knows more about the money. And I just trusted him. So it never really occurred to me that I might be in such a difficult situation. Anywho, here comes the surprise. I found out that we have over $500,000 in there. Which is really suspicious because I know my husband does not make that much and I only make less than $40,000 a year. There's no way it could be inheritance money because I knew him from high school and his family has never been rich. My husband also had student loans when he finished college, so it doesn't make sense for him to have $500,000. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if I should move forward with a divorce right now. The fact that he has so much money is very, very discouraging to me. As I said, I don't even know if I can afford Megan, and there's a possibility that he might win custody of our child. I mean, what should I even do about this, guys? Please, help me out. Update number 4. Thank you everyone for so much checking in on me. I'm sorry for not being more active, and there's just a lot to deal with in this last few months. So I decided to postpone the divorce to find out what my husband has been up to. I suspected he might have been making money in some shady dealings. Now that I think about it, it was a little suspicious that he managed to pay off his student loan just a year after graduating. I should have asked questions then, but I was too naive, too financially illiterate, and too blindly in love. Whatever it was, I have to face the consequences of my decisions now. But I felt like my baby has been giving me more strength, and there's a sense of clarity within me that I've never seen before. So after writing the last update, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I started following my husband around in secret. It was a little bit of a hassle to drive around with a huge pregnant belly, but I had no choice. I called my parents and asked for their help, and they were more generous than usual because I'm pregnant, and sent over some money for me to rent a car and bought new clothes without my husband's knowing. So about once every month, my husband would take his mom to the park, and they would have a little mother-son picnic. I never wanted to go, partly because I don't like picnics, partly because I had to carry a lot of things so my mother-in-law could not spend the quality time with her son. I obviously don't want to feel like the third wheel in my own marriage, but I followed them this time. And I saw something that made me question everything I knew about my hubby. They parked the car, looked for a bench, and sat there for I'd say 15 minutes, when a guy in a hoodie approaches them. They exchanged something sort of like a bottle of painkillers, and I saw the guy in the hoodie hanging by my husband, and he handed him some cash. I don't know why they would do what they did, so I asked Megan, and she said that my husband might be making his mom sell her painkillers to drug dealers who use it to make illegal drugs or money. It's actually not that uncommon, and if it's true, it really explains why my mother-in-law kept having to switch doctors. Maybe my husband wanted her to get as much medicine as she possibly could, and it also explained why my husband has so much money. I realized that my mother-in-law was acting up because she did not have sufficient medicine. The whole situation's just really overwhelming, but I think I finally found a way out of this. I'll keep you guys updated on what exactly happens next. Update number 5. This is the final update of the story. Make sure that you subscribe. Hey everyone. Well, I do think this is going to be my final update on the matter. My apologies for delaying it. I gave birth to a really healthy baby boy, and I named him Max. Long story short, I'm divorced, and I'm at a much better place in life right now. So, about what really went down in the last few months, I reported my ex-husband's crime straight to the police, and everything just happened really quickly after that. Apparently, my ex-husband has been on the police radar for a while now, so they actually have a lot of evidence against him. The video I took of my mother-in-law's outburst made it really clear that his actions were affecting her severely, worsening his image in front of the entire jury. Funny how much he was screaming about his ruined image, and both my husband and mother-in-law were soon arrested. But my mother-in-law got sent to a good mental institution later instead of jail. She was a victim too, and I'm honestly happy that I reported my ex-husband, because who knows what would have happened to her if I didn't. He'll have to serve time, and I don't want to get into the details of the lawsuit and the divorce, because I'm still working through them, but all in all, I'm free. I'm allowed to live my life now, and I got to start over with my son, and for that I'm deeply grateful. There's a really good piece of news in this whole mess. In my late father-in-law's will, he left all of his assets to his wife and son, unless they commit a serious felony, in which case his arrest will be equally divided by his grandchildren. So the house actually belongs to my son, because he is his only rightful grandchild. As the guardian, I'm not allowed to sell the house, but I have no intention to, anywho. We have a good place to live, and I sublet our house, but I have no intention to actually sell it. I do sublease the guest room to a single mother who's grown to become a really good friend. Things were tough at first, but I got by. I'm trying to reconcile with my parents, which is made easier thanks to old Max. He is such a smart, sweet child, and I'm truly grateful he's made my life so much better, and for the first time in a long time, I'm hopeful and excited for the future. What do you guys think? I mean, this was just one of those stories that is so absolutely insane. I'm happy that OP was able to get out of this toxic situation, and I'm not just talking about the mother in law, I'm also talking about her ex fiance. Well, how toxic he was. I mean, he was selling drugs, and it was his mom's drugs that she needed just so he could get some money. It was ridiculous, but at the end of the day, he got what he deserved. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comment section down below. My name's Mr. Reddito. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's narration, and if you want more daily drama animated videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, and of course remember one thing. It's cool to be kind. Peace.